Yes guys, welcome back to the Fun Bikes YouTube channel. I'm Finn and today I'm going to be showing you the build and assembly process for our Toxic 50cc. This is the exact same build process as an Excite 50cc, so you can also follow this one if you need the Excite building. So we can get it from looking like this to this. Let's get the thing out of the box. So guys, now I've got the bike out of the box and onto a stand. Obviously you're going to see you've got your power box, and I'm now going to run through what's in it. So starting off, you've got your number board, your front bull bar, you've got your 2-stroke mixing bowl, you've got your parts bag, which I'll run through in detail in just a moment, your bar pad and bar pad cover, you've got 4 wheel caps, you've got a tyre valve, breather pipe. You will receive this toolkit, and this toolkit will get you through the assembly, but if you do have your own tools, use them. And obviously I won't be using these, I'll be using my own, but yeah, you will get some. And finally, you'll receive your manual, which I highly recommend you read through, as it shows how to maintain this vehicle and any of the steps you might need. So guys, as previously mentioned, I'm now going to run you through all the parts. So starting here on the left, you'll have 3 bolts and 3 nuts. These will be for all 3 of your shocks. If you move to the right, you've got your 4 bolts for your handlebars. You'll receive 2 top clamps, 2 bottom clamps. The way to identify the top clamps is they've got this little ridge in them, as the bottom ones don't. You receive your rear reflector. You'll also receive a spare nut and bolt in case you are missing one, or if one breaks or anything like that. Let's get into the tools of the assembly. So guys, starting off the assembly, we're going to be doing your front number board and your handlebars. So for this, all you're going to need is a ratchet with a little extension and a 10mm socket on it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take this bolt out here. Take that fully out. So now you can grab your front number board, and what we're going to do is we're going to move the handlebars back. As you can see, this is in the way. So what you're going to do is you're going to split the wires down the sides of the steering column. Just keep them out of the way. So then you can grab the number board and the bolt we removed, and that's just going to sit back in this middle hole. So get it finger tight for now, and we can tighten it up. Obviously you want to make sure this stays nice and straight. You can kind of tell you've got a little gap. Like that. So once that's tight, you can now put your handlebars back over, like so. And now you can grab 1 top clamp, 1 bottom clamp and 2 bolts. So you're going to first of all want to grab a bottom clamp, and this is just going to sit underneath these ridges here. These will sit directly on top. As you can see, there's ridges in there, ridges on there. So you just want to place it on and keep putting a bit of pressure to hold it on. And then you can grab your top clamp, place it on top. You grab a bolt, slide it through them both, and then you can get a bit of thread on it. And then again for the front, like that, which now means you can let go of the handlebars and it won't fall over. Now you can grab the rest of your bolts and the rest of your clamps, so the 2 longer ones and the 2 clamps again. So it'll be the same for this side, flat clamp at the bottom, one with the grooves on the top, and then the bolts in, like so. Now they're all in, finger tight. Before we tighten them, you're going to want to make sure you have your handlebars. So from when you look at the top of the clamps, you want it to be perfectly like in between both the bolts. So it should be about there, and obviously having the ridges an equal distance apart. Then grab the same tool you just used for the number board, line everything up, and you can start tightening. You want to make sure these are as tight as you can get them, like that. So once they're all tight, you can just give your handlebars a little push, and as you see, they're nice and tight, which means we can now move on to the next part of your assembly. So guys, moving on with your assembly process, we're now going to be doing your 2 front shocks. For this, you're only going to need a 13mm spanner and a 10mm spanner. You'll also need your 2 shorter bolts and 2 nuts. So nice and simple. All you're going to want to do is your shocks here, we're going to line up in these gaps here. So you're going to lift up the front, line it up, and your bolt should slide when you line it up correctly. Should slide straight through. So then you can put your nut on this side, and then it'll be the exact same for this. It'll be a bit easier because obviously this has already been held up. So drop your bolt and then just line it up, push it through, and again, nut on this side. So now when you get your spanners, your 10mm will be on the left side, your 13 will be on the right, and it'll be vice versa on this side. So this is 13, this will be the 10. So now you just want to make sure these are as tight as you can get them. And then flip over to this side, and you can do this side. Once they're tight, as simple as that, your front shocks are now all installed. So guys, moving on, obviously we've just done our front shocks, so we're going to move to the back and do our rear shock. Pretty much the exact same process, so your shock's going to line up in here. So again, you'll need a 10 and a 13mm spanner, a short bolt and a nut. So nice and simple, just want to lift up the rear axle, lining up the shock again, and then you can just slide your bolt straight through, like so, and put the nut on the other side. Again, make sure this is as tight as possible. So 13 will be this side, and the 10 will be this side. And like that, your rear shock is installed, and we can now move on to the next part of your assembly. So guys, moving on with our assembly process, we're now going to be installing our rear reflector. So all you're going to need for this is going to be an 8mm spanner. So the first step is you're going to want to remove this little nut and this rubber washer. You're going to want to keep these two, and you can see there's some other bits and bobs on here. You don't need them, so get rid of them. So then you can put your rubber spacer back on, and then this will sit in this hole here on the back, and your little nut screw will go on the back, like so. So now you can grab your 8mm spanner. You want to make sure this is nice and tight, like so. And with that, your rear reflector is all installed, and we can now move on to the next part of your assembly. So guys, we're now going to be assembling your front bull bar before we attach it to the bike, as it does come non-built. All you'll need is a 5mm Allen key for assembling this part, and then later on you'll need a 10mm spanner to attach it to the quad. So let's get this out of the bag. So you'll receive your bull bar itself, receive 2 metal brackets. If yours comes like this, where you can see it's a bit wonky, or you can just give it a bit of a pull just to straighten it out. And then you'll also receive 4 screws. So now what you want to do, flip your bull bar on its front. You'll see these 4 holes here. So now you can line up these 2 holes on the bracket onto the bull bar, like so. So now you can grab your screws and just get them in finger tight for now, like so. Same with this side. Now we're going to get the bottom one, and as you can see, this one is going upwards. You want it facing upwards on the bull bar. You don't want it down. That is incorrect. That is the correct way. So now again, you can put your screws in. So now you can grab your 5mm Allen key and just go around and make sure these are all nice and tight. Right, so as you can see now, these are all tight. We can now move on and assemble it to the quad. So guys, now we have assembled our front bull bar. We're now going to come to the front of the bike. We're going to take these 4 bolts out here. So 2 at the bottom, 2 at the top. Going to put them to one side for the moment till we get the rest out. So now, the last 2 you've taken out, you're now going to grab your bull bar. I'm going to start at the bottom. So this bottom bracket is going to fit onto here, like so, and the other side. And then the top bracket is going to fit onto here. Now, if these ones don't fit, all you need to do is push down a bit on the bracket, and put it into position for you to then screw it in. Perfect, eh? So now you can grab your 10mm and make sure they're nice and tight. Like that. Once all 4 of those are tight, you can see that's all installed. So guys, now we're going to be finishing off the build with just a few little accessories we have. So starting off with your bar pad, this one I'm going to take your bar pad cover off and slide your bar pad on like so, and your bar pad will wrap around like so back onto itself. Simple as that. So now while we're here, also going to do your breather pipe. That will just sit on your fuel tank, as easy as that. And finally, you've got your wheel caps, which will have 2 bigger ones and 2 smaller ones. We're going to grab, well, I'm going to grab 1 bigger one, small one, just to show you. So on the back, obviously you're going to have the big one. So you just want to push it on, like so. Nice and easy, and then the smaller one on the front. And you'll want to do that the same on the other side, like so. And with that, your assembly is now done. So guys, and with that, you've finished your assembly. So now we can move on to the most satisfying part of the build, and that's going to be peeling these stickers. Let's get on with it. So So guys, now we have peeled off all the stick protector on the quad. You can see how nice this quad really does look. But before you do take the thing for a ride, there's one more thing you're going to want to do, and that's going to be a full nut and bolt check. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through all the bolts on the quad that you need to check and make sure are taut. So here we'll start at the back. You're going to want to check your rear wheel nut, obviously without this little cap on. You can check your exhaust guard here, check this bolt behind. I'm going to check your chain guard. You can check your foot plates. You can check these bolts here. More exhaust guards. You got your rear swing arm in here as well. Now moving to the front, you want to check your front wheel nut, and you want to check this bolt here. And you'll also want to check this bolt here. And you'll also want to check your front brake as well. So moving on to the other side of the quad, again you want to check your rear wheel, you want to check your rear brake here. Again you can check your rear shock again just in case. Check your foot plates, check your plastic bolts. There's only one, and there's one on the front as well. You want to check some bolts here, the cover for the pull start. You can always check your front shocks again. Again, your other front wheel. You want to check this bolt again, this bolt, and your front brake again. You also just want to double check everything on your levers and the throttle, kill switch, etc. So guys, and that's it. That is your complete full assembly process for our Toxic 50cc. Like I previously mentioned, it's the exact same for the Excite, so you can just follow this exact tutorial. So, if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll reply to them as quick as I can. And before your child takes this for a spin, please ensure they are wearing their correct protective equipment, for example, their helmet, gloves, body armor, suit. And that's it. And I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy.